What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Run It Up. Just value betting my friend here on the river. Be right back. All right. Oh, never mind. Apparently value betting myself on the river there. Anyway, welcome back to Run It Up. Multi-tabling madness week continues here. Just lost a little pot over there against a guy who I guess called out of the blind with ace king. Just flatted out of the blind with ace king and then check called. And I thought we had the best hand, but I was wrong about that. Going to defend here in the big blind with Jack 9 offsuit. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, I encourage you to go check that out already. We're planning on playing. I started the session yesterday, played for about 30 to 40 minutes yesterday, and now here we are with this session. So if you want to check out some of the history, what's gone on so far, what we're in for, all that other stuff, go check that out from yesterday. I assume now at this point you don't care or already have. So we're in for 162.65. So we're up a little bit of money right now. We're about even on those two tables, and the PLO table basically represents what our profit is for the time being. My plan is to play for about another 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, seeing how the session goes. I've been playing for about an hour and a half now in total. I started playing just this one table over here with 4-bet fold and sat at these two tables, which have then filled up afterwards. Don't really have a ton of history with the majority of these players at all these tables, except for 4-bet fold, who I believe is a Run It Up fan, seems to play pretty well, is capable of bluffing on the more aggressive side of things, generally speaking. Dilbert 27, who I may have called a nit earlier in this Run It Up saga, but he might not be. Maybe he's just a guy who likes to have good hands. Doesn't necessarily mean he's nit. He just wants to have good hands when he puts money in the pot. It's possible. I'm not even sure that's true, to be honest, because my memory is so terrible these days when it comes to poker players that I play with. So I think that I'm going to check the PLO hand over there. Going to call with our 3 flush, 3 straight, jack high nonsense combo over there. That's a nice turn card. Can actually lead out here. Not something that I do very often because it's not really like very high level or evolved. It's like, what do you have? A check, call, bet. But I feel like it gets him to not bluff with some hands like King X and Ace X that I guess I'd prefer to fold than to bet into me. So I thought that would maybe give us a chance to win this pot somehow, some way. But I think now that he's called, he is probably too connected to fold on this river. You know, there are plenty of hands that we have that I think that if he has anything that's like better than a pair of 6s, he's going to at least consider calling. Maybe even a pair of 6s will consider calling here. So I did not think this was going to be a great spot to bluff. We could have a check called turn, like I said. There are plenty of ways we could have played the hand differently, but I don't hate how we played the hand in that instance. In this PLO spot, looks like we turned a gut shot with the 7-5 and a flush draw with the 4-5. But both of those are pretty bad, where he could be just drawing, you know, the straight could be dead already. He could have a straight very easily himself, and the flush draw is not really anything to write home to mother about. So, you know, my mother doesn't like to open unnecessary mail, you know, so we got to write home only about nice things. So I think folding there makes sense. Going to be completing here in the small blind with Queen 6 suited. Actually, I guess I'm doing that with every Queen 6 suited I have currently. That's a pretty flop for Queen and 6. I suppose we'll lead out for the old dollar bet pot. Pretty connected board. I feel like if he has a piece of it, he's probably not going to fold. 5 is interesting. I think we're still going to just lead, though, because I don't want to check. Let him check back with, you know, 6-7, 9-8, Queen 10. You know, none of those hands do I want to see to check back. And if he has a hand even like King 10 with a 10 of diamonds, the hand might just check back itself. So if he raises on this turn card, I will be sad and scared and worried, but I would not have folded. Now that the board is paired on the end, I feel like this is more good news for us. It's very possible that he just has a hand like maybe hopefully he has a single pair in his hand and he could think we're bluffing. We could have Jack 10, 7-8. You know, it's a really good river for us to have. It's a good river for us, period, because he can put us on hands like 10 Jack or 7-8, you know, with straight draws that are then just bluffing, and he can call us very light with a very wide range of hands, you know. So it's a great river for us to bet. Absolutely have to bet, in my opinion, with 2 pair there. Unfortunately, I don't believe he had very much, or he's nit. Maybe he just folded the Queen 10. He just said, these cards aren't good enough. This is the glasses, by the way, in case you're new to Run It Up. Very important hand motion to be aware of. Going to raise up Queen 10, 8 deuce under the gun in PLO. A little bit on the loose side, but, you know, hey, wouldn't be the first time I've been accused of making a loose open in my life. I feel like, once again, this is not a board that I'm like particularly enthusiastic about betting because, you know, there are 8 cards out against us, and people like playing hands that have suited kings in them. But that being said, I feel like risking, I guess I could have risked like 150 or like 175. Maybe like this is one of those like precision bet moments that I should make it a little bit less, because there aren't really too many hands that aren't kings that are continuing, right? I mean, if people have 2 jacks in that spot, there are plenty of PLO players who do not continue there with 2 jacks. So, you know, I continue there at 2 jacks, but maybe that's wrong. But plenty of players don't. So if they're not continuing, you can bet 175 and have the same thing accomplished. If we bet 4, they're still not folding kings either way, right? So it doesn't make a lot of sense to really drop the hammer on them. We did drop the queen 10 hammer on him over there, though. That worked out pretty nicely. Going to defend in the big blind here against the small blind raise with queen 10 and 5. I think I'm going to just check back on this board. Seems pretty connected. I'm going to raise on the ace-5 of diamonds table. Interesting check from this player. Not something I would have expected very often. We did flop bottom 2 pair, though, so we could have the best hand. Don't really know if we want to bet and decide. Maybe he has a hand like kings, which would be fine with me if he wanted to just fold, I guess. I'm not really sure what we should do on this flop when he raises out of the small blind and then checks. I'm really not sure what we should do. At this point, I feel like we should check back, though, although I guess we could have flushes here pretty often. I feel like if he had a flush draw, we would have heard about it on the flop. Let's bet. I like that. I like that reason of thought, right? If he had a flush draw and he raised pre-flop, is he really checking? Apparently, maybe. Apparently, probably. All right, well, we learned a $7 lesson together, everybody, and it even saved you. It's only my $7, so I guess the lesson is we should have checked. There you go. In this hand, I was the pre-flop isolator, and then I checked back on the flop here, and now here we are turning a gut shot. We could have the best hand through some universal magic, right? 10-9, spades, somehow we win, right, with the best hand, but I think it's fine to fold there, as painful as that is for me. Not the greatest flop for pocket 8s on the PLO table, just going to start with checking. I mean, if it had checked around, I guess there are some good turn cards for us, but I'm not going to put money in to see them. That's right, we're on a roll here. First multi-tabling episode, there's too many things. There's the recordings, there's the light, there's this and that. Too many things going on. When you now the episode 2 of the session, now we're zoned in. You know, we've configured the AT-AT. Everything is just on. You know, no one needs to get choked out or anything. We're just moving along. That's right. Actually, that's very AT-AT-esque. Come on, tell me. That's great. Considering that is completely 1,000% unrehearsed. The other day I was watching a Kung Lee interview. You guys can go back and figure out in time what time this is if you want to go back and realize why I'd be watching Kung Lee interviews. But he was talking about oh man, I just sidetracked myself. And what did Kung Lee say? What was he talking about Kung Lee for? What was it talking about Kung Lee for? Not sure. Oh, no, I don't remember. Damn it. So sad. I had a great Kung Lee story, and it just fell out of my brain entirely. I'm going to be calling here. This could be a hand that isn't aces, but we're probably just about getting 2-to-1 in position. I don't fold hands like this, getting 2-to-1 in position. It's just a mistake in PLO. We have just too much equity. This is actually a flop we have to get the rest of our money in with because we flop bottom pair. We just have too much equity to fold. We're getting like 4-to-1 or something like that. Got to make 2 pair or straight. That'll do it. He's drawing dead. PLO. Hello. Yeah. So. Once again, we're talking about it in last video, checking equities and stuff to double check when you get it in. I've been doing that on my PLO all-ins almost every single time. So if you wanted to check what we got it in there with, not being able to pull up the boards is brutal. Aces, not so brutal. So we got it in with, we had 9, 8, 6, or we had 8, 7, deuce. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Raise seems fine. Yeah, I don't know the exact cards, so I can't go in and reconstruct that exactly for you guys. For some reason, the hand history thing is bugged, so I can't pull it up right now. But you guys could pause and load up Pro Poker Tools if you are so inclined to find out, and plug in those numbers and see what our equity is on the flop. And we don't need much of a piece at all to get it in, given the math of things. So thankfully we got it in, and got it in bad, but made it happen. So no big deal. In this hand, he raised, I re-raised, and he just called. This seems like a pretty good scenario for us, so let's call. I just call. I have ace-king. I have 2 sevens. You know, I just was messing around. Sorry, Navy Commander. Oh, 1134. That's a big bet. It's a big bet for a man with a white hat. Okay, let's call either way. It's just obviously not doing anything besides calling. Wow, 10 on the river might be one of those worst cards for us. Probably actually the worst card for us, but still don't think he has too many 10s. Generally speaking, he would have been way overplaying 10s, considering we could have just jacks, you know what I mean? He would be kind of overplaying his 10s there. There's no way I can fold, but I don't think raising makes any sense either. He could have queens or kings or jacks himself and call, but we could have a 10 and have played it this way, so I don't know if he's even calling with those hands, and he could just have a 10 himself, so I'm happy with just calling here. Hopefully he does not have a 10. He does, but there's nothing we could do there besides maybe not insulting his white hat on the turn, and then we could have won that pot there, but there is no way, there's nothing. You know, he had 2 outs. He had 2 outs. We got 2 outed. There's nothing we could do about that there. We played the hand to make as much money as possible in the long run. In the short run, we didn't make any money. We actually lost money because of how we played the hand particularly. If we had played our hand more aggressively, he would have just folded, but we actually made the most money possible, put ourselves in the best situation possible, and it just didn't work out that way. That's how poker works. Gonna call here. You're just getting too good of a price. Getting almost 3-1 with a hand as good as king 10 of clubs. Cannot fold, in my opinion. Don't think this is going to be a flop we're going to continue on, though, unless he bets like really small, like $2 or less, I think, against the $5 bet. Pretty sure we're just folding. I'm going to complete this hand over there. Nothing we could do there, I don't think, with the, of course, nothing we can do there with aces. Sorry, the softening of the words is a mental catch-up. It's a mental catch-up thing. But, yeah, no, nothing we could do there. We played our hand perfectly. Oh, and he quits. Ugh, the extra needle. The extra needle. Yeah. He definitely overplayed his hand a little bit there, in my opinion. I think he should have just called on flop instead of check min raising on flop, because when you check min raises on flop, if I have a hand like ace king, for instance, I'm not going to fold ace king, so he actually gets money, gets paid by ace king in that spot. But let's say I have like, you know, king queen, king jack, he check min raises and I just fold. He actually wants those hands to stay in, and if I have hands like pocket jacks, pocket queens, you know, I'm never folding those hands ever. I'm never folding those hands. And so betting then, check raising against them makes no sense because I'm not folding those and I'm beating you. And then when the turn comes the 6 and he bets again, that to me is also a pretty big mistake, because unless I have exactly ace king, everything else is beating you. That's continuing, or beating our opponent. That's continuing. And then on the river, you know, he bets, and you know, he could definitely have kings the way he's played it. It definitely would make sense to me that he could definitely have kings or queens or jacks and be playing it that way, although I don't think jacks is very likely. I also don't think king 10 is very likely either. Anyway, on to the next one. All you can do there, and if you're a newer player, I highly recommend that you get used to the ability to just kind of like, you know, absorb, think about it, you know, analyze, retract, refine all the data out of the hand that you played, you know, to analyze your opponents, analyze your new image, think about, you know, how people are playing against you, etc., etc. But once you've done all that, I highly recommend just extracting the hand from your brain and just getting to the next hand. If it's a hand that you're thinking about, and be like, oh man, if only I won that hand, I'd now be up. I would have $200. I'd be, you know, all the girls would think I was the hottest thing since Matt Damon, and you know, but no, you know, you gotta just forget about all that. Put it all behind you and move on to the next hand. So I'm gonna just fold, I guess, even though I turned the wrap, but I'm pretty sure we could be drawing dead there. And against this fella, getting check raised here, I guess we just fold here as well. I thought barreling twice would have a decent chance of getting him to fold hands that have good amount of equity against us. He'd make a mistake against our actual hand, I thought, sometimes. Maybe he folds ace highs. Maybe he folds the pairs, could fold like 2 4s, 2 5s. Maybe a hand like ace 6, I thought would fold sometimes. Hands like even 10 9. I'm I guess fine with them folding on turn. I could also check back and considerably call on turn, on river rather, but I think that all makes a decent amount of sense. Raised here under the gun with ace king, and all 3 of these players called. I feel like I'm going to start here with a check. I don't want to bet because I don't really think that we're going to get it through and just like happily win the pot. It's going to be called by probably one player, and then we're checking turns a lot. So I think I'd rather start with the check and just see what happens. We don't really have a very strong hand after all. Definitely not folding yet. We're getting 2.5 to 1. We could easily have the best hand against clubs, 5-6, 8-9, 6-8, stuff like that. King Queen, King Jack, just taking a shot. So I'm not going to fold just yet. Let's see what happens here on the turn. If this guy check raises, I'm probably going to just fold. You know, he has hands that are crushing Ace King as well as hands that we do beat some of the hands he check raises, but not enough to really continue, in my opinion. Okay. Limp. That's my compromised decision. So pretty good turn card for us, all things considered. I feel like it's going to check through a decent amount of the time. If he ships it on us, I guess we have to think about if he would do that with a hand that isn't a flush. I mean, you know, most likely an ace and a king is good. A club is probably going to be good as well. We do have this player behind to worry about, and the board is paired, so these are all things that make me a little sad. We're getting 2 to 1, a little bit better than 2 to 1, in fact, but I think we fold. Close, though, very close. Wow. Well, mathematically, I think we made a mistake against those two exact hands, but I guess if we had called, we would be like 30% against the nines. I don't know if Queen 10 would have continued once. I guess he would have. He did have the flush draw as well, so we would have shoved. He would have called probably, and we would have won based on the river, but we wouldn't have got it in particularly swimmingly. We would have been clean out. We'd have had clean outs against all those guys, but I think that's kind of a best case scenario for us, or it's close to a best case scenario for us. You know, just to recap where we're at with the balance right now as far as our session progress. I guess we'll wait and see what happens with this hand first. Well, let's make it 450. That seems fine. 75 cents. Maybe we complete with this hand. Maybe we fold. We'll see. Folding sounds fine. I guess we fold there. 2 queens, see a flop. Pretty flop for pocket queens. Just the old 2-2-3 flop. Bet. 550. Seems about right. Let's see how he feels about this. Snap fold. All right. I'm gonna just give up at the 5-3. So we're in for 162. We're in for 162 across all 3 tables, and looks like we have about 100 in the hold'em tables and 40 on the PLO table. So we're stuck about $20 right now. We have been like up 90, down 50. Up 60, down 20. But definitely let me know what you guys thought about these 3 tabling videos. I mean, they've obviously been very poker-centric. I feel like this one, even though we've lost in this one, although I guess we lost in the first one a little bit too, but I feel like this one has been better casted than the first one. I haven't played 3 tables. I guess that's not true. I haven't casted 3 tables in a very long time. I mean, not in years, not like since the old eating cake era. Sorry about that. I haven't casted 3 tables since like the eating cake era, maybe like for a couple of streams, but I'm not even sure I can remember doing it for a stream. But I feel like after the rust fell off in after the first 30 minutes, I feel like this video was better casted. But let me know what you guys thought about the PLO in there, the just general 3 tablingness of it. I think playing 3 tables or more, also playing like 4 tables and not doing commentary live, doing commentary after, which is something that I never really wanted to do. Because I always just like doing the commentary live. I feel like if you're doing it after the fact, it's very easy to kind of just like rationalize every decision you make. You look like a genius. You can just discard sessions that you don't even like, you know. So I kind of like the forcible live commentary as just like a thing. But I could definitely easily do oh, hi there. I have nice 6 puppy dog feet in my collection. Bet, I guess. I guess we shouldn't bet because the best thing they can have is a queen high flush. So I guess we should check back. Well, now they can have a full house. Good news. Raise 5, bet 4. Okay. So what we're talking about? Oh yeah, the video stuff. So yeah, I don't mind the idea of doing more, maybe even like one more table and going back and doing commentary later, just for like the fun of seeing how it works out. You know, I'm all about the experimenting and then seeing how things impact and then tweaking it from there. So you guys know, I like doing I like trying to make sure everybody's happy and we keep a diversity of things. We got to try things out though to see how it works. So let me know what you guys thought about this session generally, though. We can see about making it better for the next time. We'll improve the pizza dough recipe. We'll get it perfect. Best pizza dough ever in my whole life I've ever had. Matt's Pizza in St. James, Long Island. I don't know if I've ever told the story, but I lived right outside the delivery zone for that place, and it was the absolute best pizza I've ever had. And I've had a lot of pizza in my life, so trust me. If there's only like 3 things I know in life, and like pizza and poker are 2 of them. And I guess we're just folding here, sure. So I lived right outside the zone. Like it was literally, they had like a 3-town delivery zone, and I was on the 4th town, like right on the outskirts. And when I first moved there, and I had been a fan of theirs forever, so when I first moved there, I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I really obviously want this pizza, and this will be great. So I called, and they were like, no, we don't deliver to you. And I was like, I will give you $50 to deliver me 1 pizza. $50 total. It's crazy. $50 total. And they're like, all right, hold on. Put me on hold. Made me come back to, I was on hold for like a minute. Comes back to the phone, like, okay, we'll do it. I was like, of course you'll do it. I mean, $50. So I'm 1 town over, literally like a minute outside your delivery zone, and I'm tripling what you would get for this. So I didn't think, actually, this guy got a free ride to see the river here because I should have bet with my pair on the turn. So they get there, whatever, get there. I'm so excited. It's a piping hot, delicious pizza, feeling great. I guess do I have to call this? The good news is if we river a club, I mean, a 9 is probably not good. We probably have to hit a club exactly. And it can't be a 7 or an 8 of clubs probably either. I think we just fold this, right? I mean, he probably has a draw though, because if he had made hand, he would have just re-raised himself, right? Ugh, man. Calling 14 to win 44. Seems very, very close. If we had ace-6 with the no king of clubs, so he could have the king high flush draw, I think I like it a lot more. All right, no club. All right, that seems fine. I'll take it. What does this guy have? Oh, he has the spade draw and a pair. Pair is no good though. Similar to us, drawing just to the flush. I'm gonna call here with the 9, limped pot, blind versus blind. You just bet, small all streets. Okay, makes sense. Anyway, so the pizza gets there. I'm so excited, fucking thrilled. This is like huge perks of moving to this area. I was like, this is great. I'm gonna be so happy here. Happiest $50 I ever spent in my life. So I'm really happy. And the guy is very curmudgeonly. And he turns out to be, he's like, oh, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, oh, thanks so much for coming. I opened the door. I'm so happy. Thanks so much for coming. This is awesome. You guys did this. I really appreciate it. And he's like, yeah, I own the place. I had to come here myself. My delivery guy won't come all the way this far. This is, yeah, I guess, thanks, whatever. Like, he was very, like, gruff and dismissive, and I was just happy, cheery Jason Somerville, just happy to get a pizza in my life, I was grinding online back in those days, I'm sure. I was just, happy to get a pizza, and he was so, like, sad and negative, not sad, he was so, like, gruff and, like, unappreciative, and, like, he seemed like it was, like, way inconvenience for them, so I just, I guess I can't get you to deliver here. And I had to find other delivery options because, I'm not driving to get pizza. Let's be real. So, yeah, that was it. If they had just been happy about it and been like, yep, here you go, sir. Have a nice day. I would have probably ordered like $50K worth of pizzas at $50 a pop from them over the next 5 years that I lived there. But instead, only like $5K. That's how you show them who's boss right there. That's how you show them who's boss right there. Let's try to win some money this session. Come on, let's try to run it up. It's on the wall. Yep, still on the wall, right above the beautiful fireplace. Look at the fireplace glow. The lighting is a little weird for this video for some reason, as I think you guys can tell. But I don't know anything. I just sit here and talk into the magic silver cylinder and hope that you guys can hear me. That's about the extent of my production knowledge these days. But yeah, the fireplace looks nice at least, even though the lighting was a little odd. Beautiful flop for us. Didn't get any action, though. Another pretty hand. Another very pretty PLO hand. Let's raise this hand. That's another pretty hold'em hand. 3 and 50. Let's raise the pot with our pocket jacks. If he re-raises, if R2D2 over there decides to re-raise, we can call. We're deep enough, I think, to call in position. Not that I'd be super thrilled about it, but we could if we really wanted to. Took it down with ace-8 suited pre-flop. All right, let's see if R2D2 re-raises all in with aces. He does not. So the most likely hand that 4-bet fold has is aces. And you don't really want to have hands like jacks when you're up against aces because, you know, they're aces after all. But I feel like getting 2-to-1 position, plus we're actually going to get even better because I can't imagine Zach is going to fold here very often. I feel like we're in like a flop a jack expedition. All right, well, wouldn't have thought he was going to fold there given that he cold calls the first time. But another surprising lesson here. So if he checks, I think we would have just checked back. You know, we don't think bluffing is... We would have the opportunity to bluff, but I don't think I would have, and I think now we just fold. Not much we could do there. If we were way deeper, we could arguably talk about, like, you know, trying to call and maybe like rep a straight if the straight got there or something like that, but I feel fine with that as is. Another pretty solid hand here, ace suited ace and 8-9 in there as well as pocket eights. So many things going on, you know, really kind of nuts. That's why PLO is so beautiful. If you ever get the chance in your life to like 4-table PLO, it is like a poker orgy because it's like, oh, full house. 3 of a kind, open ender, and a flush draw. Like, it's just like, if you're a Hold'em player and you start playing PLO, it's just like Christmas every day. So I highly recommend it if you're into making big hands and making big money. That's right. I should become the PLO spokesman. Just like, you know, the guardian of Pot Limit Omaha somehow. You know, that way I can just be like the hype man for PLO. I think we'll fold this one, but I guess, you know, it's, I feel like the hands like this where they have a banana under the gun, you know, it's like queen, jack, 10, and then banana. I feel like I'm pretty, maybe I'm too tough on playing those, but it's like the one thing I'm like disciplined about. I fold those hands. And I guess I fold this one as well. I was very tempted to call, but I actually feel like when people do things like that, that they more often than not have you. He just pots it or like pots it and plus a bet. Maybe not, though. Maybe he owned me. Wouldn't be the first time this video, am I right? I actually don't feel owned at all. I feel like we've made very reasonable decisions and just have not had the best results for the squad. And if that's the case, all you can do is just make more decisions. And eventually, you know, eventually Jacob will reward you. Hopefully. That's right. That's a Lost reference right there. That's right. I guess I am... Okay, no decision to be made. I was debating calling here on the Hold'em table if he bet again on the turn. Now, on the river, is there a chance he folds a hand better than ace deuce? Pocket fours. I guess there's always a chance, you know? There's always a chance, but I think it's not super likely. And we just win. We have the ace of spades blocker over here. If somehow we end up in this position where we can end up representing the flush, I don't mind attempting that. Looks like this is the spot. So let's start with a bet on the turn. Now, I don't always like auto bluff in these spots, and I think at this limit, it's probably be suicidal to do it. But I don't mind trying to bluff in this spot if we get called one time and, you know, we have a good opportunity to bluff on the river. Just want it right up there, though. Starting with a check with our flush draw and overcard and backdoor straight draw. Pretty flop for us, all things considered, especially against the button. Gonna just check raise, and if he wants to get it in, happy to get it in. If he wants to call, happy to let him call. We're gonna have about a pot-sized bet on the turn. We would probably just ship on almost every turn card. Actually, probably literally every turn card. Now that I've said that, I'm like, well, no, I don't think there is. I think we're all in on every turn card if he just flat calls because we don't make any mistakes, really. We just have a good hand. We're all in. I mean, maybe like the king. Maybe we check on like the ace of spades to like, you know, maybe we check if we get there or something. But if we don't improve, I think we're all in on every turn card. If we do improve, maybe sometimes we do something tricky and check. That's the only real exception, I think. Another pretty hand here on the button. Every hand is pretty in PLO. Not every hand, but, you know, 70%. It's like, you know, it's like living in LA. Every 70% of the PLO hand population is attractive. Gonna call here on the button. Makes sense to me. Could also re-raise, but I don't think this hand is a particularly great hand to 4-bet. Though I did experiment with a strategy that was very wild pre-flop with aggression. especially on the button. But I'm not sure about like 4-betting in spots like this, especially with stacks as they are, because if this guy just has like anything like remotely top 10%, I feel like he just clicks the all-in button, and then we're like, well, we're not in good shape. So I feel like to utilize our position, it's better to just call here. But I could be incorrect about that. This guy bets a lot. I think there's like 2 pennies in this pot, looks like to me. And he's betting like a lot. I guess we just fold. So, in this hand, it's now checked to us. I guess that means we might have the best hand. I doubt it. Check back? Really? Okay. In spots like this hurts me, because in Hold'em, I would never check back pocket 9s or 6-8 or 8-9. Like, I would never check back any of those hands in Hold'em. So it hurts me to do it here. But I think we just make too many mistakes, and we actually don't have the best hand here somewhat often against the guy who potted. Like, he could very easily have kings or aces and just pot and now check if he has nothing else to go with it. So I actually kind of feel like I might have made a good play here. That's right. I'm going to pretend I made a great play here. So what? Deal with it. I don't know who I'm telling that to even. I'm just happy. I'm happy to make good plays, you know? You got to be your own cheerleader in life, because you're the only really reliable cheerleader you'll ever have. You know? Other people have other, you know, they've got other plans, other intentions. Who knows? You got to be there for yourself. I feel like we're nearing the 30-ish minute mark, but I'm not in a quitting mood. I'm in a let's get even mood, so that means not quitting. I could start with a bet here, but I guess I kind of like bet. Okay, no, betting is fine. $2. And I'm going to call here with our beautiful little low hand ace-suited rundown thing. This is why these hands are not really as good as they look, by the way. I did say it was beautiful, but it really isn't super beautiful by any means, because there's like classifications of beauty apparently in PLO hands as far as I'm concerned. Because flops like this are terrible for us. We're actually drawing dead very often against any number of hands, so we just end up check folding on boards like this, which is not great if he ever has hands that we beat, which he does have sometimes. He has king, queen, XX, something like that. Do we bet here for value against pocket 5, something like that? Ace high, ace jack? Nah. Maybe he would have folded that hand. I doubt it. He probably wasn't going to fold that hand. We could have jack 10 or ace 10, ace jack, something like that ourselves. Like that check. Going to raise it up here a little bit. Just a pot builder. That's right. Pork chop. Raise it up. Making it just a little bigger. Folding the 6 jack offsuit. I'm going to bet in position here if he will allow me the privilege. I think betting 150 makes sense. I think I'm going to actually raise here in position. This seems like a fine spot to 3-bet. We have a very reasonable hand on the button here to 3-bet against a guy who's probably relatively wide. Pretty good turn card to bet as a bluff, right? Because he might fold hands like small pocket pairs, ace highs. We could have ace king. We could have any number of decent hands here. And we have a gut shot, obviously, and a flush draw to go with it in case of a worst case scenario. Against a $2.50 lead here. See, I think he thinks we have aces, and spoiler alert, we don't. So this is interesting. 12.50? That's a bet 12. That seems like a bet I'd make with ace king. Nice. Well, we got away with 1 table of brigandry. Didn't get away with 2 tables, but at least 1 for 1. Could be worse. I'm gonna open this hand. That is a pretty hand. Definitely potting it over a limp. We're gonna make a profit in the long run with this dynamic for sure. I'm less than thrilled about the cold call, but whatever. Let's see a flop. Very pretty flop for us. Top pair. Very pretty might be too strong, but certainly solid. I mean, given that we have only $25, I think it's certainly fine to bet and go with it. If we had more, I feel like we might not, but given how good our hand is in our stack, I feel like we're just going to go with it. Hopefully this player folds. If he doesn't, still think we're not folding, but I prefer to be heads up in this spot for sure. Definitely our hand plays better heads up than it does 3-way. He has a higher flush draw, but no pair. Turn to king. We're going to need some help here. 7 does not do it. He rivers a straight. All right. So he had king jack 10-6. I should write this down. He has king jack 10-6. What did we have? We had ace 3, ace queen 3-9, something like that. Oh wow, they give us a hand with one under a big blind. That's silly. Okay. All right, I will rebuy over there. Hopefully I just bust this $50. with any luck. So he had king jack of clubs, 10, 6. So he definitely got it in good. Even though he didn't have a pair when he got it in. He was definitely the favorite. Let's do some PLO calculations. It's a pretty good flop for us with our 38 case cents over there. Oh wow. Oh no, they're all quitting. No, oh, they won't give it to us. Where is the sweet justice? All right, $50 in for 50 more. So we're in for 212.65. I feel like we probably are gonna just end up quitting, even though we're stuck now. We're stuck $60 now. I don't feel like there's much we could have done this session. I feel like we had a lot of good situations to get our money in, and we did, and just did not work out well for us. So that was 9 of clubs, 8 of clubs, 4, right? 4 of bananas. Is that right? This hand could be a raise actually, but I guess fine. Check. And we're playing PLO. That's right. And so we had the ace of not clubs, queen of clubs, 3 of clubs, 9 of nothing relevant, and he had the king of clubs, jack of clubs, and the 10 of nothing relevant, and the 6 of nothing relevant. He's probably like, my guess is he's like 62-38 here. I mean, he needs to hit a club, any number of these high cards, you know, king, queen, jack, 10, 7, right? Yeah, 7. So he has those outs twice. That's a lot of outs. We just have defensive outs, really. So what are the chances here? My guess is 62-38. Okay, even better for him. Even better for him. We're 32% there. So again, I think this is kind of a worst case scenario for us, given that he only has 20 big blind, or for $20 when we start the hand. So I do feel like this is like kind of a worst case scenario for us, or I guess, you know, pretty close to it. He has us 1 pipped on the flush draw. If our flush draw is beat, we're in bad shape here no matter what, because he probably has overcards to go with it. So I guess we could have just checked to this guy, called, seen a turn card, and gone from there. Maybe that would have been a better way to play this hand, but I don't think it can be too big of a catastrophe to get it in the way that we had, given the stacks and the dynamics of things. I'm not going to play just 1 table here. I did my best to build 3 tables of action for you guys. Got it to stick together for 2 hours, so pretty happy with that, all things considered, even though you guys only got to see like more of the down slope of it. But I actually thought this was a really fun session, all things considered. Actually, you know what? Let's I'm going to play this PLO orbit out, and then we'll do a wrap up. How about that? We'll do a end of session wrap up. So looks like we're probably going to end up stuck, but I am not really worried about that. It happens. Obviously, there were plenty of times where we got a little bit unlucky, or situations were not great for us, you know. But I think when we recap it, we'll talk about exact hands and stuff like that. We know what we should do. Let's leave the last table up for now. Let's see. This is the only PLO table, so. And then we do. You guys are going to be so amazed by this magic going on right now. Let's just watch. It's like, oh my god, wow. Yep, wow. Oh, wow. Live video editing. And then something like that. Is that what I want to do? Nah. I just wanted to do something like this. I just wanted to do like yeah, something like this. Because we're only playing 1 table, and I have a feeling we're not going to win this pot either. I could try to bluff, but, you know, that seems pretty suicidal. We're just like, hope you all fold. Got pocket jacks in PLO. So now that we've turned a flush draw, I feel like my plan is to still check. Hopefully we river a jack or a spade. If he bets, we're just folding. You know, we're crushed by ace X of spades. We're like drawing stone dead against that hand. So we have last hand here, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll just do a little wrap up, you know? For a session I lost on, I feel very zen right now. You know, played 3 tables. Feel like we played actually pretty well, all things considered. We ran, I feel, less than great, but I feel good about that session. I'd love to hear how you guys feel about this session, though. You know, because oh, sorry, I want to go towards the towards the side here, you know, of the board. You can just hang out by the fire, just relax. We're just recapping, just watching 1 table of gentle PLO. You know, gentle PLO just off in the distance, relaxing. I guess that's the last hand for now. So let's do some math. No, buddy. Sorry, someone's sitting with me now. It's too late. Sorry, bud. All right, so we're in for 212.65, and let's reduce it by all these numbers. All right, so we lost 63.03, which puts us at about 780. Lower than we started the season, which is very sad. I'm sad to hear that, but not that much lower. We started at 810, and if D-Moon never came over, we'd still be up, so it's fine. D-Moon, you'll come back soon. Don't worry. You'll be back. You'll be back soon. We'll get you back in here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this session. Like I said, I feel like there were some really interesting hands here, so if you guys have any questions, or I didn't explain hands fully because there were 3 tabling, so, anything can happen, and I was a little distracted, obviously, trying to play all these tables, so if there's any hands I didn't talk about fully, please go ahead and fire off in the comments below, or you can obviously hit me up on my facebook.com/JCarverPoker, twitter.com/Jason Somerville, or the Run Up forums, runup.com /forums. You can check that out as well. Don't forget, if you want to rep Run It Up and be like, listen, I love the Run It Up life. I live Run It Up. Run It Up, I'm all about starting with less, ending with more. Don't forget, you can buy yourself a t-shirt and let the world know how you feel. runup.com/store. Really appreciate all you guys that have bought stuff so far this season. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And tomorrow we will be going back to something different. I like these multi-tabling videos, but I can't do 4 tables because it's just too hard to find a time that I want to cast that there are 4 tables for. But I do want to do 4 tables at some point in the future, maybe with a pre-record, maybe with not. We'll be back with more tomorrow. I don't know what it'll be. It'll be a surprise. Grab bag, whatever day of the week it is tomorrow. That's right. Who knows? Not a poker player. That's right. I'll see you guys back for more very soon. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. See you guys back for more tomorrow. Peace. This is what happens when you invite women over, okay? Trouble happens. All right, there we go. Speaking of which, I'm going mining. I have my pickaxe. I'm going down the information mine, and I'm going to try to come back with some gems for you guys. We're flying solo. The nav computer is offline. We're just going to roll it. Whatever, JCarvers.